Program oral interpretation. This is a almost brand new event for us here in Oregon. This last year in 2019, this is the first year that you could qualify for the state championships in program oral interpretation, or POI as we like to call it. So what exactly is POI? Because it's such a new event, there's a lot of people who really get confused as to what it's supposed to be, how it differs from, say, humorous interp or dramatic interp or poetry or some of those. So I want to make sure that we are clear as to what POI is, because it's such a cool event that can be so powerful to put together and to perform. It really is exciting but different from any of the other events that you'll watch. So again, we're going to define what POI is. Again, program oral interpretation. Think of this similar to poetry. In poetry, you're taking 3 poems and you're putting them together based on a central theme. In POI, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to come up with a theme for whatever it is that you want to talk about, and then you're going to find different pieces of media that are going to back up that point. Again, similar to poetry, you need at least 3 pieces of media, although you can come up with more if you would like. And you weave those together, or you perform those together based on, again, this central theme. So when we're talking media, we're talking things like, let's say, from a book, from a script, from a news source, song lyrics, all sorts of things, published things that are out there that you could take to really wrap around a certain theme. Now, one of the videos I'm going to post here on this page, just scroll down and you're going to find it, is the sample POI from Nationals this last year. This particular contestant, she put together a whole program that featured, I mean, we're not talking literature. I mean, there was a piece of literature, there was song lyrics, there was samples from news stories, there was a debate technical manual in there. So she really found a lot of unusual sources to weave together to make her point, which is really powerful to hear in how she did it. So definitely check out that sample video below so you can kind of see what POI looks like. Preparation for POI is going to be a lot like with poetry. You need to find your theme first, and then you need to go out and you find the different pieces of media that are going to work within that theme. And again, just like this sample video, think outside the box. You know, we're not just looking for different pieces of prose. Look for just a lot of different odds and ends, you know, like the news stories, song lyrics, different things that you can really put together to help tell your story. Now, just like with poetry, you're going to need to introduce this program. There's really not rules about when to introduce the program or how to introduce the program. I mean, you're going to want to do similar to other pieces. You're going to want to do a teaser to pull people into the world of your piece, then do your introduction, or you're introducing the theme, and then go into the bulk of the speech. But some people say, well, you need to have the introduction at the beginning and then go into it. Some people say do teaser and then the introduction and then the piece. Some people say you need to introduce each piece before you give it. There's really not a set of rules for that. This is really up to you and what you feel is going to represent the piece the best that it can. Now, some of the most creative POIs that I've seen in the past, granted, this would be tricky as all get out to cut and put together. I'm always impressed by these skills. But instead of doing a piece and then an introduction, and then a piece and then an introduction and a piece, all that kind of stuff, like you would in poetry, they introduce their pieces all at the beginning, and then the pieces wind together. So it's not piece, piece, piece. It's the pieces all intertwined together to tell the proper story. Now, you've got to be really on your game performance-wise to pull this off, because your judge has to be able to keep track with which piece you're in, which character you are, all of that stuff as you're switching from piece to piece to piece and then back and so on and so forth. So it's going to take some work. It's going to take some practice. But again, watch that sample video, because that's really going to show you the power of program oral interp and some of the possibilities. So going into some of the technical specifics, 10 minutes in length. Like some of the other interp pieces, you're going to need a performance book, the little small black binders, 3-ring binders. Cut up your piece, put it in there, really work on the transitions of using it. When you're performing and you're on script, your book needs to be open. when you are giving your own transitions, the book can be shut. But that's going to be the basics to get you started with POI. Also, this is not technically a memorized piece. Memorization is not required for this particular one. It is meant to be a performance out of the book. Granted, the more you give it and the more you practice, the more it will be memorized. But you also have to make a mental note to look like you're actually referencing that book, so that you can satisfy that part of the rules. A few other technical details about POI. When you're performing it, you need to limit your movements. Again, not quite like dramatic or humorous interp, where you have a little more freedom to move. You need to be set. I saw someone mention at some point in time, your feet need to stay put. I mean, don't risk your health and all that kind of stuff, but your feet pretty much need to stay planted. So it's not a huge acting all over the room type of thing. It is a standing, interpreting this program that you are presenting. Also, with POI, you got to make sure that everything that you're doing is coming from a published source. Again, because you can pull things from like news articles, technical manuals, prose, poetry, all over the place. We need to make sure that it's published in some way, whether it has that ISBN number on the back of the book, or we can verify that it has been published on a legit news site. We just need to be able to verify publication. This is not an event where you can write your own material other than the transitions and the introduction. Everything that you're quoting needs to be a published source. So POI is, like I said, a new event. It's a lot of fun, a lot of potential with things that you can do with this particular event, but really powerful in taking all these different realms of media and combining them together into one piece to prove and present your program on whatever subject you would like. Let me see it as a coach. Let me see the media you're looking at. I can help you from there, but just check out POI. I think it's worth your time, and it's an exciting new event here in Oregon.